In this video, I'm going to show you why you should not be concerned if you are stuck in an administrative forbearance. I'm going to show you the exact regulation that shows why you don't have to worry. And this regulation is totally new, it's totally different, and it really does make it super clear when you see the regulation what an administrative forbearance is, and also what it means for you, and how to respond, how you can respond if you are ever put in an administrative forbearance. So now let's take a look at this regulation. Okay, so I am screen sharing right now the Federal Register of Regulations for Income-Driven Repayment. You can see in the URL that these were published in January of 2023. So this is an official document put out by the Department of Education during the Biden administration. And the change here, it says, for all IDR plans, a borrower receives a month of credit towards forgiveness by, and then making a payment under an IDR plan, right? And then it says making a payment under the 10-year standard plan. Then it says making a payment where you would have been making payments of at least the standard 10-year plan, right? And then it says deferring or forbearing monthly payments under the following provisions. Now, if you look all the way down, there's a lot of different categories that could qualify for this, right? And if you look down this list, in subsection J, it says an administrative forbearance under 685-205. So it's clearly saying that you can get credit towards forgiveness. This is PSLF and non-PSLF forgiveness if you are put into an administrative forbearance. So if I just type in administrative forbearance into this document, you'll see a lot of commentary from Department of Education as to why they did this. So you can see they're and they're using language like proposes to, because this was their discussion going into these regulations. So this is including periods of mandatory forbearance when a servicer, this is the key part, not at the request of the borrower and for administrative reasons, pauses a borrower's payments while the servicer reviews information about the borrower's loans, right? So this is commentary, again, explaining that they think that this provides an incentive for servicers to get people out of administrative forbearance. If you look at more conversation, they talk about that they were modifying the existing regulations for IDR plans to allow certain periods of deferment and forbearance to count towards forgiveness, and they include and administrative forbearances. And then you can actually see the actual change. These are the regulations, and there are a lot of regulations here, but these regulations are what specifically changed this for borrowers. Now, one of the misconceptions out there is, a lot of people are very confused, and they're thinking, well, my administrative forbearance, it doesn't count because, it previously didn't count. And that would be a true statement, right? So your administrative forbearance used to not count for forgiveness. And so everyone's confused because people have not been making payments for a long time. And, after the pandemic, it at least there was a big gap during the pandemic, right? And under the old rules, you would be correct. Administrative forbearance would not count towards forgiveness. But as of these new regulations, as of 2023, forbearances that you are put into not at your own request, that's an administrative forbearance, it does count. So an example of something that would count is when Mohila transitioned from their own site to the student aid website, and the PSLF was moving over. Let's say, for example, that they didn't give you a payment, they couldn't calculate your payment for you, and they put you into forbearance even though you wanted to make a payment. You do not have to make a payment, and that period counts because you were put into that forbearance, not according to you asking. Now, an example of something that would not count is if you call your servicer and say, hey, I'm having a tough time, I want to put my loans into forbearance. So because you requested it, that would not count, right? So administrative forbearance is something that is done to you, and it's something that does count towards forgiveness. And if you want more tips like this, if you want to calculate your payments and figure out what the minimum payment is on your student loans, look in the description. We've got a download that you can get that is an IDR calculator that will help you, minimize your student loan payments. And if you have questions or thoughts about your administrative forbearance that you've ever been through, if you have questions or you have frustrations about this, put it in the comments. We'd love to see what you think. We'd love to hear what your experience has been. Thank you for following Student Loan Planner.